Hello students, today we will learn about the ninth standard English lesson 6, My Childhood. It is written by our Honorable 11th President of India, Sri APJ Abdul Kalam. He was also called the Missile Man, okay, and he was also the visionary man who made India one of the leading player in the world in terms of the missile development. Also he made the India one of the nuclear weapon possessing country of the world. So his contribution is immense, either it is in ISRO, either it is in DRDO, okay, and also he was the president of our country. So let's start with the lesson. I was born in a middle class Tamil family in the island town of Rameswaram in the erstwhile Madras state. At that time, the Rameswaram was coming under the Madras state. Now it is in the Tamil Nadu. So, Sri APJ Abdul Kalam was born in the middle class Tamil family in the island town of Rameswaram. Okay, erstwhile means former Madras state. His father, Jainuddin, had neither much formal education nor much wealth. So they were very simple and middle class family, and they were not having much of the luxury. Despite this disadvantage, he possessed great initiate wisdom and generosity of the spirit. So he was Sri APJ Abdul Kalam's father, Jainuddin, was not very educated, or he was having the luxury, but still he was having the wisdom and the thoughtfulness to think of the situation and to come out of it or every part. Moreover, I do not recall the exact number of the people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. So his mother name, Sri APJ Abdul Kalam's mother name was Ashiamma, and she fed the people, those who were needy and those who do not have the money to buy the food. So what Sri APJ Abdul Kalam is telling that I am quite certain that outsider ate with us, यानी जितने फैमिली मेंबर्स थे उनके साथ से उनसे हिसाब से ज़्यादा तो बाहर के लोग आके उनके साथ खाना खाते थे, because she used to feed the people, those who do not have the money to buy the food or they were poor. I was one of many children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks, born to tall and handsome parents. So he is telling that I was of one of my many children, okay, a short boy with a rather undistinguished looks. So he is saying that I was born to my parents, they were tall and handsome, both of them were quite good looking, but I was undistinguished looks with the other my siblings. We lived in our ancestral house. So they lived in the house which was made by their ancestor. And it was built in the middle of the 19th century. So this house was standing in the middle of the 19th century. It was fairly large pakka house made of limestone and brick on the Mosque Street in Rameswaram. So Sri APJ Abdul Kalam is telling that his house was made with the limestone and brick, and it stands on the Mosque Street in Rameswaram. My austere father, simple, strict and severe. His father was quite simple, okay, but he was quite strict in giving the children all the teachings to become a very good person and to become a better citizen. Used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxury. So his father was strict, but he also made sure that his children do not have more of the luxuries, and that's why he kept his life in a very simple way. However, all the necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine or clothes. The basic necessities were given in the proper and in a good order, like food, education and clothes and medicines. In fact, I would rather say mine was a very secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. So Sri APJ Abdul Kalam is telling in this line that his childhood was quite good and he was secure. That means, like many of the kids, he had education, he had good food and good living. The Second World War broke out in 1939 when I was 8 years old. Shri APJ Abdul Kalam was 8 years old at that time when the Second World War broke. For reasons I have never been able to understand, a certain sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. Tamarind का मतलब होता है इमली. तो वो बोले मुझे नहीं पता था कि इमली की जो सीड्स है उसकी सडन डिमांड इतनी मार्केट में बढ़ क्यों गई ड्यूरिंग द सेकंड वर्ल्ड वॉर. आई यूज्ड टू कलेक्ट द सीड, sell them to provision shop on the mosque street. Provision shop means किराने की दुकान, बराबर, जैसे हमारे घर के पास होती है. A day's collection would fetch me a princely sum of 1 anna. 1 anna means an Indian money which was worth of the 6 paisa. So Shri APJ Abdul Kalam is telling that I used to collect the tamarind seed and give it to the provision store and he used to give me 1 anna for that. My brother-in-law Jalaluddin, brother-in-law means the husband of his sister, would tell me the story about the war, which I would later attempt to trace in the headline in Dinamani. So he used to cross-check. Shri APJ Abdul Kalam used to cross-check the stories which were told by his brother-in-law Jalaluddin in the periodical or the paper in the headlines in Dinamani. Our area, being isolated, was completely unaffected by the war. Now Rameshwaram is an island town, okay, and it was not affected by the war. But soon India was forced to join the Allied forces because India at that time was under the British rule. Okay, so British, without the permission of the India and the Indian leaders, they threw India into the war with the Allied forces. The Allied forces was comprising with the countries of USA, Russia, UK, France and the other countries. During this time, the first casualty came in the form of suspension of the train halt at Rameshwaram station. So casualty means the consequences of the war. पहला क्या था कि train used to stop at Rameshwaram. The train did not stop at Rameshwaram from now onwards. So he said that the first casualty happened. यानी उसकी वजह से क्या हुआ कि रामेश्वरम में स्टेशन पे ट्रेन रुकनी बंद हो गई. Now, so the newspaper had to bundle and thrown out of the moving train on the Rameshwaram road between the Rameshwaram and Dhanushkodi. Now the newspaper had to be bundled out and they have to be thrown at the from the running train to the road which was connecting the Rameshwaram and Dhanushkodi. That forced my cousin Shamsuddin, who distributed newspaper in Rameshwaram, to look for help to catch the bundles, as if naturally I filled the slot. So what happened? Shri APJ Abdul Kalam's cousin Shamsuddin was doing the business of newspaper. He was a newspaper vendor. So what he did, he used to catch the newspaper bundle. So naturally his name was Shamsuddin. He needed one help. So this help was given by Shri APJ Abdul Kalam. Shamsuddin helped me earn my first wages. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of a pride in earning my own money. You know, in the life, when someone becomes very rich or someone have a lot of money, but the first paycheck or the first money the person has got in his life is very important, and that thing is very precious, not only for you. When you will become adult and when you will be going to earn the money, either you will do the job, the businesses or government job. When first time when you hand over the money to your parents, the sense of pride the parents feel at that time is not written in the words. It's speechless. Every child is born with some inherited characteristics into specific socio-economic and emotional manner. So Shri APJ Abdul Kalam is telling that every child has a character of his own. Okay, we cannot compare one person with the other. I inherited honesty and self-discipline from my father, and from my mother, I inherited faith in goodness and keep kindness. So he's telling that his father's what he inherited, honesty and self-discipline. Self-discipline is a very important thing. Your life should be go in a very disciplined manner. And from his mother, he had the kindness and goodness and have a faith. I had three close friends in my childhood: Ramananda Shastri, Arvindan, and Shiva Prakashan. Now, Ramananda Shastri, Arvindan, and Shiva Prakashan, all these boys were from the Orthodox Brahmin families. But still, in that town, he's saying that his time they were do not having any hatred of Hindu, Muslim, or any religion. They do not have. Everybody was living in a very peaceful way. As the children, none of us ever felt any differences among them, either religious or upbringing. So, when they were kids, Sri APJ Abdul Kalam is telling that we don't have the differences, that we were from different religion, or we were having the different faith, or we are having the different custom or anything. Our life was similar, and we were taught very good things, and we were taught that we should become a very successful and a good citizen in our life. Later, he took over Nasi. Ramananda Shastri was the son of the Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri, the highest priest of the Rameshwaram temple. Now, this part of Rameshwaram is very important because it is a myth, or it is a mythology. It is a mythology that Lord Sri Ram has done the puja there at Rameshwaram. Okay. So later he took over the priesthood from the Rameshwaram temple from his father. Arvindan went on to the business of arranging transport for the visiting pilgrims, and Shiva Prakashan became a catering contractor for Southern Railways. So Sri APJ Abdul Kalam is giving the brief itinerary, okay, of their friend's journey. So first of all, is Ramananda Shastri was the son of the Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri, the highest priest of the Rameshwaram temple. Okay, and later he took over the priesthood of the Rameshwaram temple from his father Arvindan and went into the business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims. And Shiva Prakashan became a catering contractor for the Southern Railways. During the annual Sri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony, so the Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony was there, our family used to arrange boats with the special platform for carrying idols for Lord Rama from the temple to the marriage site. So when there was a ceremony of Sita marrying Sri Lord Ram, Goddess Sita marrying Lord Ram, in this ceremony Sri APJ Abdul Kalam's family used to arrange boats with special platform for carrying the idols to the marriage site situated in the middle of the pond called Ramatirtha, which was near our house. Events from Ramayana and from the life of Prophet were the bedtime story from my mother and grandmother used to tell. So the story of the Prophet and the tales from Ramayana of the Lord Ram and Prophet Muhammad was told to Sri APJ Abdul Kalam by his mother and grandmother and other children of the house to take the good qualities and to become a better person in the life. One day, when I was in the 5th standard at Rameshwaram Elementary School, a new teacher came into our class. I used to wear a cap which marked me as a Muslim. So naturally Muslim people, they wear a cap, okay? And Sri APJ Abdul Kalam was also wearing a cap. They were small in the 5th standard. She was a child. So I always sat front row next to the Ramanand Shastri who wore the sacred thread. Okay, so Ramanand Shastri used to sit beside Sri APJ Abdul Kalam and he wore a sacred thread. The new teacher could not stomach a Hindu priest's son sitting with a Muslim boy. So what happened is that the new teacher was not ready to accept the fact that a Hindu boy, a priest's son, his father was a priest in the Rameshwaram temple, was sitting with the Muslim boy. So in the accordance with our social rankings, a new teacher saw it. I was asked to go and sit on the back bench. I felt very sad, so as the Ramananda Shastri. Like that, if you are having a best friend sitting along with you, if the teacher senses that you are making the noise or you are talking every now and if you are made sit with the other pupil in the class, you will not feel the same. You will feel the bad that your seat has been changed and you have been shifted from your best friend. So he looked utterly downcast as I shifted to my seat in the last row. The image of him weeping when I shifted was left lasting impression on me. So Sri APJ Abdul Kalam saw that his friend Ramanand Shastri was crying because he was separated from the best friend. After the school, we went to the home and told our respective parents about incident. Lakshmana Shastri summoned the teacher. Summoned means he called the teacher and he said that he should not feel the communal hatred in the mind of the children. Okay. He should not spread the poison of the social inequality and communal intolerance in the mind of the innocent children. That the children should not be taught to make the difference between the friends, their friends, or because of the religion or the caste. Okay, and they should be, as a teacher, he should not do that thing. He should not downcast the poison into the mind of the children on basis of the religion or the communalism. But a strong sense of conviction of Lakshmana Shastri conveyed that if he could not do this, he should leave the island immediately and he has to apologize for his action. On the whole, the small society of Rameswaram was very rigid in terms of segregation of different social groups. There was a small society. Rameswaram is not a big place. Okay. Moreover, however, my science teacher Shiva Subramanya Iyer, though an orthodox Brahmin with a very conservative vibe, was something of a rebel. So his science teacher believed that orthodoxy should not be carried out in the mind and it should not be dealt with the students. Okay, so as a science teacher he was a rebel and his wife was very conservative, means she was of the old thoughts. He did his best to break the social barriers so that people from various backgrounds could mingle easily. He did his best that everybody should talk in a very nice way, no differences should be there on the terms of religion, caste, creed, color or anything, and everybody should sit together, sometimes have food and have have a chat on very different things. Kalam, he said, I want you to develop so that you are on the par with the highly educated people of the big city. So he said that I want you to develop so that you will be having a very highly educated part of the big city. One day, this was the feeling of the science teacher, that he told to Sri APJ Abdul Kalam that you should also become a very successful person in your life as the other peoples in the big city. One day he invited me to his home for a meal. His wife was horrified at the idea of Muslim boy being invited to their dining room. So he said that they were Brahmins and his wife did not accept the idea that a Muslim boy should be invited in their kitchen, because the Brahmins, they find kitchen as a very sacred place for them. She refused to serve me in her kitchen. She refused to serve who? Sri APJ Abdul Kalam. Shiva Subramanyam Iyer was not perturbed. He was not bothered about that. He himself served him. Who? The science teacher called Sri APJ Abdul Kalam for a meal and he himself served him with his own hand and sat down beside me to eat his meal. So he sat down with Sri APJ Abdul Kalam and had his meal. I wonder whether she had observed any difference in the way I ate the rice, drank water or cleaned the floor after meal. So naturally we are all humans after all. We eat from our mouth, we eat with our hands. All the Indians, we are eating with the hands only. We eat from our mouth only. We drink water same. There is no difference. So she saw that there was no difference of eating the rice, cleaning the floor after the meal. When I was leaving his house, Shiva Subramanya Iyer invited me to join him for a dinner again next week. So the science teacher Shiva Subramanya Iyer told Kalam, come next week also for a meal and join me. Observing my hesitation, he told me not to get upset. When you are doing the change, society will be against you. But once you stand firm against all the odds, everybody will accept the change. When I visited his house again for a meal, Shiva Subramanya Iyer's wife took me inside her kitchen and served me food with her own hands. So this was a change which was made by his teacher. It had an effect on his wife's mind, and at this time, Shri APJ Abdul Kalam and his teacher, they both were served with the hands of her own. So this was a very forward change. Then the Second World War was over and India's freedom was imminent. Indians will build their own, declared Gandhiji. The whole country was filled with the unprecedented optimism. I asked my father for permission to leave Rameswaram and study to the district headquarters in Ramananthapuram. So now the schooling period was over. And now what happened was that in the Rameswaram school part was over and he has to leave for the further studies to Ramananthapuram. So Shri APJ Abdul Kalam asked the permission from his father that please, now it is a time that I should leave this island and now I should go to the other place to study. He told me as if thinking aloud, Abul, I know you have to go. Does the seagull not fly across the sun alone without nest? So he is quoting that a seagull is flying across the sun alone. He quoted the Khalil Gibran. Now the Khalil Gibran is a very versatile poet and well-known poet. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life longing for itself. They come through you but not from you. You may give them your love but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. So in this line, his father knew that when it was a time for Shri Abdul Kalam to go, and grow in his life and develop, he will not refrain from supporting him, because from a childhood, Shri Abdul Kalam was a very well known for his study and for his hard work. Okay, and he was a very good and bright student. And throughout his career, when you read his book and autobiography, Wings of Fire, his whole career graph has been always in the upside. And Sri Abdul Kalam, whenever and whatever work he did with the full faith, full hard work. Okay, and he always gave his 100% in whatever work was given to him, was entrusted to him. So in this lesson, what we have learned about some of the glimpse of the highlights of the from the life of Abdul Kalam. Thank you.